Namaskar. Welcome to Katha Kahani Kavya. My name is Manisha. Our today's topic is general Hindu religious customs and rites. Om. Part 2, Chapter 6, The Four Ashramas. Nations have characteristics, just as have individuals. And among the characteristics of the Hindu nation in old days were order and balance. The Sanatana Dharma stamped these characteristics on the people and thus shaped a very dignified type of man, evenly developed and well balanced. So much are these the characteristics of the true follower of the Sanatana Dharma that Sri Krishna said, equilibrium is called yoga. The large view of life taken in the Vedas is the root of these characteristics. All things exist for the sake of the Atma, the Self, and by his will. They exist merely to give him the experiences he desires to pass through. He wills to unfold his powers in the lower worlds and to become the self-conscious ruler of the outer realms of denser matter, as he is ever the inner ruler, immortal. He is not in haste, being external, and knows it best to take each experience in order, and thus to unfold symmetrically and harmoniously. This order is imposed by Ishvara, the Supreme Self, on the lower kingdom of our world. The seed, the root, the stem, the leaves, the flower, the fruit succeed each other in due order, and each has its place and its beauty in its season. So also he imposes the stages of human life: infancy, childhood, youth, maturity, old age. This sequence man cannot escape from nor change, but the unfolding Jivatma in man, clouded by the matter he has not yet mastered, pushes irregularly in various directions, led by mana, dominated by kama, grasping at the things of one stage while yet in another, and so hindering his due evolution in each. The child would be a youth, the youth a man. The old man grasps backward at the joys of youth. Thus life is robbed of its serenity and thereby of half its usefulness. In order to counteract this mistaken eagerness and lack of balanced order, the great rishis marked out for the eldest born family of the Aryan race the definite stages in the life of the individual from birth to death, and the definite stages in the life of the Jivatma in his long evolution through myriads of births and deaths. In each case, these stages are four. In the life between one birth and one death, they are called ashramas, resting places, dwellings. In the life passing through countless births and deaths, they are called varnas, colors, or castes. We are concerned here with the ashramas. As said, these stages are four: brahmacharya, the stage of studentship; grihastha, the stage of householdership; vanaprastha, the stage of forest dwelling, that is, seclusion, sannyasa; the stage of total renunciation, that is, asceticism. In none of these stages must the man grasp at the special duties of the other three. The student must not be a householder, a recluse, or an ascetic. The householder must not be a celibate, a recluse, or an ascetic. The recluse must not seek again the joys of the household, nor must the ascetic long after the quiet attachments of the recluse. Each stage has its own duties and its own pleasures, discharged and enjoyed in its own stage. They led to the orderly unfolding of the Jivatma. When the ashramas are disregarded, his evolution is delayed. Now, in modern days, the ashramas cannot be exactly lived according to the details of the ancient rules, the conditions having changed so much. But if we get a clear idea of the fundamental duties of each, we shall still be able to shape the life to an orderly course of development. The life of the student begins with the Upanayana ceremony, his second birth, and from that time forward, certain virtues must be striven for the boy. He must be hardy and simple in his habits. These virtues make his body strong and healthy. He acquires them by rising early, bathing, eating moderately of plain food, taking plenty of exercise, not allowing himself to lounge luxuriously and idly. Contrast a boy who lives in this way with one who lies late in bed, who overeats himself on sweetmeats and rich dishes, who takes little exercises and spends much of his time lying on soft pillows. The one is alert, strong, hard-muscled, vigorous, active, and will be a strong, healthy man. The other is heavy, flabby, fat, lazy, or too thin and weak, and will soon be diseased and suffering. The student must also strive for the virtues of industry, obedience, humility, and serviceableness. Youth is the preparation time of life, and industrious study to acquire knowledge is absolutely necessary for useful manhood. Obedience is using the experience of his elders to guide his conduct and saves him many a trouble in early life, and only he who knows how to obey is fit to rule hereafter. Humility lifts him quickly, as all are willing to share what they have with the humble, and serviceableness in the narrow circle of the family and the school build up the nature that will serve humanity. The student must be chaste in thought and act, a celibate in mind and body. He must guard his thoughts, for the boy who does not think impurity will not act impurity. He should not think of sex, nor yield to daydreaming. Only the pure in thought and in body can pass unstained into happy household life. The very name of the student is the brahmachari, which has come now to mean almost exclusively the celibate. Premature age, weakness, disease, race decay spring from student marriage against the ancient law. The household stage is entered at marriage, when the youth has completed his school and college career and is ready to take up the duties and responsibilities of household life. Of all the ashramas, this is the most important, for it supports all the others. The welfare alike of the family and of the nation depends on the householder, and their happiness and prosperity are in his hands. A good husband, a good father, a good master, a good citizen is the noblest of men. The home is the school of unselfishness, compassion, tenderness, temperance, purity, helpfulness, prudence, industry, right judgment, charity. The qualities that make the good householder, when shown to his own circle in house and state, are the qualities that make the sage and the saint when shown to all. The degradation of the ideal of the householder has made modern life petty and sordid, and the half entrance into it, and the confusion of its duties with those of the student, caused by the modern evil of student marriage, has deprived the entry into it of its ancient solemnity and dignity. The plucking and eating of unripe fruit deprives the eater of its sweetness. Certain well-born but thoughtless Brahman youths abandoning their homes before due time, went into the forest to lead a life of asceticism. Indra pitied them and then, assuming the form of a golden bird, taught them, "Follow the household life. It is the field for the cultivation of virtues. It is sacred. Worship of the Devas, study, repayment of the debt to the Pitras by the rearing of a family and helping on new lives, as we have been reared and helped. These are the austerest of the penances. Bear the heavy burden of the duties of the household. They that run away from their work fall into sin. To eat the remnant of the food left after helping the needy is to eat the true remnant of sacrifice. When the householder sees his sons able to bear the full burden of his duties, when the signs of age appear and his children's children are round him, the time has come for him and his wife to surrender the headship of the home and to retire from active life and worldly labor. A quiet and somewhat secluded life given to study, to self-sacrifice for the good of others, to the counseling of the younger, such should be the third ashrama in our modern days. Finally, in old age, a man may rightly enter the fourth ashrama, that of the ascetic, passing his last days in meditation and worship, till he enters willingly the life beyond death to reap the fruits of a well-spent earthly life, hereafter to return for further evolution. Brahmachari grihasthascha vanaprasthi yatistatha ete grihastha prabhavascha tvaraha prathakashramaha. The student, the householder, the forest dweller, the ascetic, these, the four separate orders, spring from the householder. Vedanadhitya vedo va vedam vapi yathakramam avilupta brahmacharyo grihasthashramamavaset. Grihasthastu yada pashyedvalipalitmatmanah apatyasya tathapatyam tadaranyam samashrayet. Vaneshu tu vihृतेवं तृतीयं भागमायुषः चतुर्थमायुषो भागं त्यक्त्वा संगान परिवर्जेत. Having studied the Vedas or two Vedas or even one Veda in due order without violating celibacy, let him enter the household order. When the householder sees wrinkles on his skin, whiteness in his hair, and the progeny of his progeny, then let him retire to the forest. Having passed the third portion of his life in the forest, let him abandon all attachments and wander as an ascetic the fourth portion of his life. Anadhitya dvijo vedananutpadya tatha prajam anishtva chaiv yagyeshch mokshamichchana vrajtyadha. A twice-born man who seeks moksha without having studied the Veda, without having produced offspring, and without having offered sacrifices goeth downwards. Anarogya manayushyam swargeya chati bhojanam apunyam lokvidvishtam tasmatat parivarjayet. Overeating is against health, long life, the attainment of heaven and merit, and is disapproved by the world. Therefore, let it be avoided. Nodito guruna nityam pranodit evava kuryad dhyayane yatnamacharasya hiteshu cha varjayena madhumasam cha gandham malyam rasantriyah shuktani chaiv sarvani pranitam chaiv hinsanam kamam krodham chalobham chanartanam geetvadanam द्यूतं च जनवादं च परिवादं तथा नृतं. एकः शयीत सर्वत्र नरेतः स्कन्दयेत क्वचित् कामाद्धि स्कन्दयन् रेतो हिनस्ति व्रतमात्मनः. Directed or not directed by his teacher, let the student ever engage in study and in doing services to his preceptor. Let the student refrain from wine, meat, perfumes, garlands, tasty and savory dishes, women, acids, and injury to sentient creature. From lust, anger, and greed, dancing, singing, and playing on musical instruments. From dice playing, gossip, slander, and from untruth. Let the student always sleep alone, and let him not waste his seed. He who from lust wastes his seed destroyeth his vow. यथा वायुं समाश्रित्य सर्वे जीवन्ति जन्तवः तथा गृहस्थमाश्रित्य वर्तन्त इतराश्रमाः सर्वेषामपि चैतेषां वेदश्रुतिविधानतः गृहस्थ उच्यते श्रेष्ठः सत्रीनेतान् बिभर्तिः यथा नदी नदः सर्वे समुद्रे यान्ति संस्थितिं तथैवाश्रमिणः सर्वे गृहस्थे यान्ति संस्थितिम्. As all creatures live supported by the air, so the other orders exist supported by the householder. Of all these ashramas, by the declaration of the Veda scripture, the householder is the highest. He verily supports the other three. As all streams and rivers flow to rest in the ocean, so all the ashramas flow to rest in the householder. अनाश्रितः कर्मफलं कार्यकर्म करोति यः स सन्न्यासी स योगी च न निरग्नि नै चाक्रियः. He that performs such action as in duty, independently of the fruit of action, he is a sannyasi, he is a yogi, not he that is without fire and without rites. Om